Koa Peat is one of the most unique forwards in high school basketball. At 6'8", 235 pounds, he plays like a tank, bulldozing his way to the rim with power and balance most players just can't handle. But what makes him fascinating isn't just the strength. He's skilled enough to handle the ball, versatile enough to guard across positions, and even flashes some second side rim protection on defense. The big question is, can those tools translate into NBA stardom? In this breakdown, we'll look at what makes Peat so tough to stop offensively, how his defense can potentially set him apart, and why his long-term ceiling may come down to two things. Stay tuned for those key areas and how they help answer our central question. Is he just a bruiser with size, or the next great modern forward? Before we dive in, I want to shout out Marcus for this comment on my last video on AJ Devansa. Seems like AJ and Darren are the best primary creator best in the class. I have Darren just ahead though, he's too polished. AJ's size is what gives him a high ceiling though. I thought it was a really interesting point and I agree for the most part. But let me know what you guys think. I'll be doing this for every video, so drop your thoughts below and you might see yours featured next time. Koa's physical profile jumps off the screen the second you watch him. At 6'8" and a filled out 235 pounds, he already looks like an NBA forward walking out onto a high school court. That strength isn't just cosmetic, it's the foundation of his game. He uses his frame to carve out space, finish through contact, and bully smaller defenders. And while he's not an above the rim freak in the mold of Zion or Blake Griffin, he's still a good vertical athlete. He can rise for lobs, dunk in traffic, and play with power around the rim. Where he's less dynamic is his first step. He's not going to blow past defenders with pure burst. But one question that lingers with Koa is how much of this dominance comes from being more physically developed than his peers. At the high school level, it's an advantage. At the NBA level, that gap shrinks. So how much does it matter? And does the skill set hold up when that edge isn't as pronounced? We'll circle back to that later. As a driver, Koa doesn't need a wide open lane to get downhill. All it takes is a small step on his defender, and his strength does the rest. Once he gets into your body, he can either power through contact to finish or draw fouls to get to the line. This makes him tough to stop around the rim, even without elite bursts. His face-up game is coming along too. He flashed a comfortable mid-range jumper that makes him harder to play straight up. While the jumper looks promising here, he can still have some pretty bad misses. Still, there are questions. For a player with his physical advantages, shooting just 57% on layups across the sample size I watched is underwhelming. His handle can be a bit loose too, and without high-level bursts, he sometimes struggles to create clean separation. Right now, he can bump smaller defenders out of the way, but in the NBA, is that really sustainable if you're projecting him as a primary or secondary creator? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If Koa's on-ball game raises questions, then his off-ball value becomes even more important. The shot is the swing skill. Right now, his mechanics are a bit unorthodox. His release point is way above his head, almost like a vertical push shot. That can lead to misses short or long, and the fact that he's tweaked his form over time has made it hard to build consistency. The optimistic view is that he becomes a passable catch-and-shoot threat. But if he doesn't, then his cutting game has to be really high level to pick up the slack. Earlier in his career, when he played more off the ball, his cutting really popped. Smart back cuts, great timing, and an ability to finish plays with dunks or putbacks. Combine that with his strength in vertical, and you get a player who can still pressure defenses, even without the ball in his hands. Now when it comes to passing, Koa's track record is a bit of a mixed bag. Over the 51 games I had access to going back to 2021, his assist to turnover ratio sat at just 0.71. Not exactly encouraging, but when you break it down, a lot of those turnovers weren't about bad reads or forcing passes. They came from handle issues and trying to navigate tight spaces. As he's matured though, those numbers have shifted. From 2023 onwards, his assist to turnover climbed to 1.23. That's not elite, but it's a sign of a growth. And on film, you can see the improvement. He's capable of making the next pass, like the quick kick out to a shooter after drawing attention inside. That's where most of his assists came from. Every now and then, he'll flash some nice interior passing. But the key for him isn't about becoming a highlight reel distributor. It's about being a quick processor, reading the rotations, and swinging the ball, keeping the offense flowing. If he's going to be attacking defenses out of rotation at the next level, his ability to keep the offense ticking without killing possessions will be really valuable. The question is whether he can continue sharpening that processing speed to complement his scoring gravity. Defensively, Koa has a really intriguing foundation. On the perimeter, he moves his feet well enough to stay in front of most wings and even switch onto some guards. The smaller, quicker twitch guys can still give him issues though that's true for most forwards. What really jumps out is the rim protection flashes. He's shown he can rotate over, get vertical, and block shots in a way you don't often see from high school forwards his size. That combination of perimeter versatility and secondary rim protection is a very valuable defensive profile at the next level. He also keeps his hands active, swiping at the ball, disrupting passing lanes, and just generally making life harder for the offense. When you put it all together, he's got the size, tools, mobility, instincts. Nothing about his defense feels finished, but the foundation is there. And honestly, this might be the area I'm the highest on. If he keeps sharpening his discipline and timing, there's a path for him to become a real impact defender at the next level. Koa Peat has a lot going for him, but I'll highlight 3 key areas to watch at Arizona that could define just how high his ceiling climbs. First, shooting development. Right now, his jumper is inconsistent. Mechanics are a work in progress and his catch and shoot game isn't reliable at all. How much he improves here will determine whether he can stretch the floor and be a true offensive weapon. His pull-up mid-range will be very impactful for his on-ball scoring game as well, a counter when he's not able to bully his defender. Second, translating his physical scoring to the next level. His strength and body control dominate at the high school level, but can he maintain that efficiency against bigger, quicker defenders? Will he be able to create at the rim without relying purely on power? Third, playmaking and processing speed. He's capable of making the next pass and keeping the offense moving, but to be a truly impactful forward, he needs to continue improving that processing speed and make the right reads under pressure. Which areas do you think he can improve the most? Drop your thoughts below. I'm really interested to see what you guys think. With his combination of size, strength, and versatile defensive tools, Koa Peat projects as a physically dominant forward with the potential to impact both ends of the floor. If he continues improving his shooting and playmaking, his ceiling rises significantly, but his efficiency and consistency will define his floor. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. I'll be featuring some of your thoughts in the next video. Up next, I'll let you guys decide the next prospect through a poll on my YouTube community page, so keep an eye on there and make sure you vote.